Ace 10 is really marginal. Like I would probably just fold.
Yeah. If I'm at a table where it's really weak passive behind me, I could raise here, right? But
Yeah, I mean, but the only incentive you have to do that is if like the three guys behind you are super super tight, and then the blinds are bad, or if the three guys behind you are flatting way too wide. Like if you saw a guy on the button flat ace nine off in a similar situation, it would be okay for you to raise there. But um, I try and teach my students uh, good habits so that they can play at every level, so that they just keep moving up in stakes and never have any like major fundamental flaws.
hmm
And that's why I would suggest folding there,
Okay.
because
This
like
one's a
a
call.
lot of people at those smaller stakes, like 1-2, 1-3, 2-5, develop these really bad habits that allow them to win a little bit more money at those stakes, but then they move up to 5-10 and they just get slaughtered, and they don't understand why. It's because of
Okay.
like those little fundamental flaws.
Okay.
Um, Queen nine of clubs, I would pretty much always three bet, and against a human, I would probably go up to $7 or so. Uh,
Okay. And it says call on Snowy, but
well, but you see that the EVs are exactly the same.
yeah.
So the difference being that like if you call, it's going to be much more difficult to evaluate your equity, and you won't have an opportunity to generate any fold equity. If you three bet,
hmm
you're in the driver's seat. You have more control. And then there you flopped a backdoor straight draw, backdoor clubs. You have tons of ace X in your range. Snowy doesn't have any ace king or ace queen right now. Um, so you just need to follow through always.
Okay.
And then keep betting because you have way more ace X than Snowy does. Uh, and now this is like an interesting spot because you need to determine if Snowy ever has a higher ranking flush draw that missed than you, because like Snowy would never raise the flop with a flush draw. He would also never raise the turn with a flush draw. So he has diamond combos in there that he wouldn't have on most boards. So you have to determine if any of those are better than queen high, and if you could fold them out, right? Because like betting with queen high to fold out a seven high flush draw that missed doesn't make any sense, right? You basically
hmm
you have showdown value against that. So typically, what I would do here is I would I would check the queen nine of clubs combo, but I would take the combos like 8-7 of clubs or 7-6 of clubs, and I would follow through with those. So this is one of the rare situations where you're not betting with blockers, you're betting with the lowest ranking hands trying to get higher diamonds to fold.
You're the only blocker you're blocking is really ace queen.
Yeah, I mean, but like so some people get confused here. They'll have like king queen here, and they go, oh, I block ace king and ace queen. Well, it's like Snowy never has ace king or ace queen to begin with.
Yeah.
And the other thing is like if Snowy folds, it's just because he folded lower diamonds than that hand. You were betting with showdown value. You were bluffing with
You
the
don't
best
think
hand.
Snowy would flat my three bet with ace queen in position?
Um,
I mean,
the preflop advisor that I've been looking at is four betting with ace queen suited.
okay.
And then it's also going over the top with ace queen off or folding. It doesn't call the three bet with ace queen. So
Okay.
I just feel like it doesn't have that much ace X, and then what did it do? It just
Overbet.
overbet all in.
All in 69 into 60.
Uh,
I got a fold.
I guess so. Yeah.
I want to see what they have. Let's just call just to see what they have.
Okay.
I mean, I know I'm supposed to fold here, but okay. So flatting ace jack.
Yeah. But do you see the value in betting the turn there, because like Snowy's going to call the flop with all the pocket pairs that it flatted with, so like sevens, eights, nines.
Yeah. Most
And
people just bet one street and then give up.
But you can fold out all those combos. You can also fold out a lot of weak 10x on the turn because you have a ton of leverage. You have more than a pot size bet left on the river. And then you always raise 10-9 suited there. That's really important for board coverage. Queen 5 off would be a defend against a button min raise, but from an earlier position raise, you're just not going to be able to realize as much equity. There's like too many big pairs in that early position. And then 10-6 is very close. I think like it's optional.
So this is a spot here where Snowy 90% of the time advises to call with ace queen, but in the coaching that I've had with you, I would say, okay, let's have initiative.
Well, okay, so the reason I tell you to 3-bet is because every human opponent that you're playing against is defending against 3-bets too often. So like not only are they opening too wide, they're also defending against 3-bets with like 80 to 90% of their ranges as a default. So 3-betting is always better. Against a perfect opponent, it's okay to flat, and then the reason why it's suggesting that you do that is for board coverage purposes, because if you're always 3-betting with ace king and ace queen suited, you don't have any like big aces on ace high boards when you flat. So it likes to take ace queen off and throw it in there. The other thing is you'll notice that it 3-bets a ton of suited hands and not very many combos of offsuit hands, and the reason for that is it needs extra equity to keep barreling. So it wants the backdoor flush draws, and it wants to be able to make a flush in an inflated pot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand the difference between like ace queen suited and ace queen off, and what you're trying to accomplish. With ace queen off, it's okay to flat. And then so Snowy is squeezing super wide in this spot, and I would suggest calling. Like it'll take a hand like pocket eights and just like squeeze there, or all the suited aces, king queen suited, queen jack suited. It's just like following through with all of those. And then what did it bet? Half pot.
Of a gut shot with an overcard. Pretty connected board, but yeah, bet half pot.
So the reason Snowy's telling you to call here is because you have a ton of implied odds if you hit a jack. So I mean, it's only going to happen 8% of the time, but when you do, you're just always getting stacks in, because like Snowy just is not going to fold a set of kings, a set of tens. It also has eights in its range here. It has king 10 suited in its range, and it's just not folding any of those if a jack peels off. And then the other thing is like you have, if you call, he checks the turn and you stab. It's actually a pretty credible line. It's the same thing you would do with like king queen or a set of eights.
Yeah.
So I would suggest calling. And then here, I'm just not going to try and mess with that range at all. I would just fold.
Yeah.
It seems really loose passive, doesn't it? Where you just like you call the button, then you call the 3-bet, and then you peel the flop with a gut shot.
No, but when that card comes off on the turn, there's not really anything you can do.
Right, like the.
So you just cut your. I mean, there's really, when the board pairs there, it's. I mean, you could be drawing dead.
Right, it's frustrating in live cash when you haven't played a hand in 45 minutes, and then like that hand comes up and you're like, wow, I'm just a really loose passive fish. But it's actually okay. Like that was the highest EV play. The turn card forced you out of the pot, and it's okay.
Yeah. So what do you think about the 50 case? Okay, so.
I'm really surprised that it's saying to just fold that. I would.
What, the ace 10?
Yeah, I would almost always 3-bet there.
So it's a hijack. It's a hijack.
Oh, is it the high? I thought it was the cutoff.
No, I put 6 in, but I forgot that it counts me. So it's actually 7 players, but it's the hijack.
Okay, so the hijack is okay to fold, but the cutoff you should always 3-bet.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was a little confused too because I'm like, normally in this spot I'm probably 3-betting. Why is it saying to fold? And then I realized, okay, wait, this is the hijack. It's not the cutoff.
Yeah, and the other thing is that, like, again, if you see a guy that's opening 8-5 suited from the hijack in a live game, just 3-bet him. You don't have to stick to these rigid rules against people that are just blatantly opening way too wide and not playing by the rules to begin with. You should just.
When you said if they're opening like ace 5 from the hijack.
No. Like there are tons of times where even when I'm playing like a bigger game, I'm playing 5-10 at Bellagio or 10-20, where there's just like some European guy that thinks it's okay to open 8-5 suited from the hijack and go to showdown with that, or like they're opening like 8-6 suited from the hijack because like the two guys to their left are just playing way too tight, not 3-betting them enough. That's a spot where I'm just going to be like, okay, we can go post flop with ace 10. If you really want to play this game right now, I'm going to 3-bet you.
So this is I have a backdoor straight flush draw.
So what happened here? It went raise.
It went open from the cutoff. I'm on the button with 10-9 suited.
And what did the Snow eval say to do pre-flop?
To call.
And wow, okay. And do you remember what the EB was?
It wasn't much.
Yeah, for the longest time, it was saying to fold those combos and then 3-bet with 7-6, 6-5, and 5-4 suited. I'm glad that it's gone back to flatting with that because I think that makes a lot more sense for board coverage. Now here they both check to you.
Yep. So I have a lot of equity. I mean, I have equity at backdoor equity, back straight equity, 2 overcards.
Yeah, so the cutoff very rarely has anything like you're betting to fold out 2 overcards the vast majority of the time. So now you just have to consider like what does Snowy 2 have over there when he's peeling, and he has a lot of overcards as well. You have a gut shot, a backdoor flush draw. You can rep clubs. You can rep overcards. I like betting. I'd probably bet $4 here, and go from there. You agree with that or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to bet. Whoa.
Wow, they look at these guys just sandbagging you right here. Yeah, you got to just get out of there at that point.
Even though it says to call?
I don't see how that could possibly be a profitable call.
Well, I mean, if I hit my 8, I'm gonna stack probably.
Right, but only 3 of them are good. Right, like one of these guys has clubs for sure, so only 3 of those arts are good, and then even if you hit the 8 and get the stacks in, you're still going to have to probably fade a board pair and clubs by the river. So I don't see how I could possibly think that 10-9 suited is profitable here. And it's only saying that it's 0.17 big blinds if all of those assumptions are true. So I would just fold.
So this is interesting. So like this 5-4 suited, the cutoff opens. I'm on the button with 5-4 suited.
Yeah, you should pretty much always 3-bet here, and the reason why you're doing that is for the ace high boards, right? Because I've taught you to 3-bet the big pairs, the big aces, and the suited aces, right? The reason why you throw a 5-4 suited in there is so that you can cover those lower boards, and then you also have something to bluff with on the ace high boards, because most guys are 3-betting too tight in this situation. and then when an ace high board comes off, they always have at least one pair. So there's no part of their range that they can turn into a bluff. So
Okay.
so 5-4 suited is great for a variety of reasons.
Okay.
And like if you had to pick like the between three betting with queen ten off or queen jack off or 5-4 suited, like you should pretty much always lean toward the smaller suited connector like that. Queen ten of clubs is I'm just folding. Even against a min raise, I would fold. Don't fall into the habit of flatting there. That's like really lighting money on fire. And I know it's a pretty hand though, you know.
Yeah, it's the only hand I've ever made a royal flush with.
Ah,
Queen ten of clubs.
I love that Planet Hollywood logic. So
I opened ace three suited under the gun, and then the hijack three bets me, and I'm out of position.
yeah, so like that, it's really hard for the hijack to get out of line because either you're going to eventually start four betting him, or somebody behind him is going to start cold four betting, and then he also has four guys behind him with random cards that could wake up with a big hand. It's really hard for him to get out of line there. So that's why like folding ace three suited is okay. If this was in later position, you would either need to call or four bet. But from an earlier position, just fold. Yeah, Jack 10.
People get out of line with Jack 10 off. They think it's the...
They way overvalue that hand.
So, I mean, I have 1, 2, so under the gun plus 1 opens. I have 4 people left behind me. Flatting is bad.
Yeah, you're not folding because Snowy's range has more equity than yours. You're folding because there are 4 guys behind you with random cards that will wake up with a big hand 4.5% of the time or so. And it's a little bit less than that because you have an ace in your hand that's a blocker, but still, like, the 4 guys behind you are each going to wake up with a big pair about 3.5% of the time there.
Yeah.
And you're barely ahead of the Snowy's opening range in that spot, so you just have to fold. Like it feels like when people start opening way too wide in an earlier position, you have ace 10 and you feel like you want to exploit them, but you just can't. It's really hard to exploit them when you have so much action behind you.